It just occurred to me, are there any other fans that like wear silly things like the Mickey Mouse ears that SKT/Bisu fans wear? Because I can't think of any. We need to think of some other silly things for fans to do. I'm sure fangirls will be all too willing to, you know, put on silly things for their beloved players. Anyway, Leta showed us some very interesting TVZ against both Jaedong and Solky, in fact, taking down two top-notch Zergs. Against Jaedong, he did like this two-base mid-game biomech timing that completely crushed Jaedong. Jaedong misread it as pure mech, was like going pure Hydra, and then a bunch of M&M came out supported by tanks, and he got owned. And then, what's his face? And then against Solky, he like faked a 2-port Wraith, but then actually did like a 1-base Medic Marine plus Vulture timing. I think C originally invented the build, or at least demonstrated it on air. But yeah, that was really cool, and he played it really well. Denied all the Ling Scouts, and Solky just completely misread the build. So yeah, those are very cool games. I don't think, I mean, I've kind of told myself to not be so mean to the players nowadays, because I feel like I've been getting quite harsh in the recent casts. But you know, I think it's definitely fair to say that GG Amo is not quite on the same level as Jaedong or Solky, so I don't think Leta really needs to do anything too fancy like he did in those games. I think if he just plays a solid standard game, he'll be absolutely fine. Although Leta does like his tricks, does like his 2-port Wraith. Anyway, in this game we've seen a 12 hatch from GG Amo. Looks like it's just gonna be a 1-Rax expand from Leta. I'm a little bit surprised that he's building the command center in his base here. He scouted the 12 hatch, so I mean, was that not actually a 12 hatch? No, pretty sure that was. And yet he's building the command center as main. That I don't think that's necessary. Could be wrong. I was busy talking about other things, but that's interesting. Anyway, at the bottom right, is that showing that it's CJ's got 199 wins? So does that mean if they win this match today, it'll be like their 200th Pro League win or something? Could be something like that. Not really sure. I assume that's what it means. Anyway, now a little bit of history, or not really history, or I guess very recent history. CJ actually, before this weekend, so basically before this weekend, they had before last weekend, they had 2 matches to play, one against STX and one against Ace, and they basically had to win either the match against STX or today's match against Ace in order to advance to the playoffs. And so it should have been like, you know, fairly straightforward for them. No offense to STX or Ace fans, but then they kind of fumbled against STX and got taken down 3-2 in a pretty epic series. So now they're in the must-win situation against Ace, which again should be relatively straightforward. But you know, these teams that no longer have anything to lose have been showing some really ridiculous games. You know, Team 8 been showing some good games, and Air Force Ace, of course, defeated KT over the weekend 3-2. So you know, a couple of weeks ago I would have said this is pretty easy for CJ, but now I'm actually not so sure. I think Air Force Ace could definitely give them a run for their money at least. So Command Center has been floated out. I'm just going to start mining there now. Looks like I'm a little bit surprised that Overlord is actually not in vision of the Marines. It looks like it should be, but I guess it's just barely over the cliff there. It's quite interesting how that works. Anyway, there's actually a Hydroden out front. I don't know if that's kind of either like a fake or just to wall off a little bit, prevent any kind of crazy Vulture run by. I mean, it's not very likely for that to occur at this point, but well, no, maybe it's actually just 3-hatch Lurker. I'm a little bit surprised why he would show the Hydroden if that was the case, though. He's like creeping out with creep colonies. Has he misread this as like a mech build? What is going on here? I'm a little bit confused by what GG Amo is doing. Because it looks like he's actually... He's playing as if like Leta showed him a Vulture or something. So like, you know, he builds the den to stop the Vulture from running into his main. He makes a couple of Hydralisks to help defend that as well. he builds a forward creep colony. Like this I'm pretty sure he just completely misread the build from Leta. I mean, Leta's just gone for 3 racks here, standard bio stuff, and GG Amo's reaction is like really bizarre. Anyway, the chat is telling me that Leta hid the CC in the main to fake mech, which kind of makes sense, I guess. But that seems a bit of a step, though. It's like you see a slightly late command center and you assume mech. Well, I guess you can kind of make that read. Some serious mind games going on here. Anyway, there's a scan in the main. He's not going to see anything. There is no Spire. It is just going to be Hydra. Presumably, now that he knows it's bio, he'll just get Lurkers instead and go 3-edge Lurker. 3-edge Lurker is fine against bio. We don't really see it that much anymore, just because like Muta Micro and Marine Micro have developed to a point where Marine Micro can be like, with good Marine Micro, you can actually take down Lurkers quite effectively. And conversely, with good Muta Micro, you can do quite a bit of damage against Terran. Anyway, GG Amo gonna run around the main force, poking a little bit with the Zerglings, but not gonna be able to do anything there. Leta had enough reinforcements at the back, and there are the Lurkers morphing. I think they will be done in time. Leta might scan and consider going in, but I don't think he actually should. It looks like he's actually just gonna range this Hydra in a little bit and be annoying, but nope. Lurker gonna burrow and push those guys back. Meanwhile, the top right base main, top right main is being taken as a third base for GG Amo. He's got a Lurker there already to defend. It looks like only 1 Lurker. I hope he has a second one there. 1 Lurker is actually not enough to defend a ramp. If the Terran, you know, decides to commit to it, he can actually just run up the ramp and kill the Lurker pretty easily. Looks like GG Amo trying to move out here. He's got to be a little bit careful. Like in that situation, I feel that if Leta had maybe gone for a nice Marine spread, he might have been able to take those Lurkers down, although there were a few Lings in the back, so perhaps not. But see, this is the thing. GG Amo's got to be so careful with how he uses the Lurkers. He's got to keep the Lings nearby to kind of cover them a little bit to make sure, because if he just goes out with the Lurkers by themselves, it is actually fairly straightforward to for Leta to just you know, spread his Marines a little bit and take them out with a scan. So yeah, got to be very, very careful. I mean, I'm sure you can find VODs of Flash doing like fancy anti-lurker micro and like killing a ton of lurkers without losing a Marine. Anyway, looks like Spire just now going up. Queen's is already done, so presumably the Hive is making. I don't know if we got a shot of the main actually. Random SCV guy gonna get taken down. And so far it's been a relatively calm game. I mean, Leta has been putting on a decent amount of pressure with his bio forces. He actually stopped at 3 barracks and just went straight for vessels. It's actually a somewhat, I don't want to say well, it is kind of an unusual opening for Leta. I mean, normally you either see like a 2 racks academy and then, you know, factory and then like kind of standard teching up, or you see Terrans go for like the fast +1 and, you know, mass 4 or 5 barracks Marines. Leta's kind of gone for a halfway build with 3 barracks and then teching up. So, you know, he was able to put on a little bit of early pressure with the additional bio forces, but his vessels are also still going to be out in good time here, so it seems like a good compromise. This is not going to end well, though. He's actually going to fly that dropship directly into a pair of squares. Let's see how good his reaction time is. Looks like it's pretty good. He does manage to save 1 Marine out of the drop, but it's not really going to do anything. So a nice little victory for GG Amo there, who is actually also spreading his Lings out at the top right base at his 3rd, just to check for any drops that went up there. So that's actually a very nice move by him. And looks like his Hive is in fact finished. This Marine might actually kill an Overlord. That would be some nice revenge for his fallen comrades there. Wow, he's actually going to get it. Hero Marine. I don't even know where that Overlord was going. That's quite funny. And it looks like the first vessel is out. I believe that would be Siege Mode spinning in the machine shop. It could also be Spider Mines if Siege Mode's finished. I'm not actually sure. But the final mount is out, so GG Amo should be fine here. Might feel a little bit of pressure from this attack, but you know, as soon as its filers get out, he'll be good to go. So looks like we're just gonna. I mean, this is a pretty by the book TVZ, honestly. Aside from that slightly bumpy opening for GG Amo, going for the or misreading the build, it is relatively calm. He's going to lose a couple of lurkers here, not ideal for him. I'm a little bit surprised he actually just burrowed them there. I mean, I guess he was just hoping that Leta's Marines were out of position and he could get a few free kills, but his lurkers were also kind of not exactly lined up perfectly. And actually, it looks like Leta's going to be able to break up the ramp here. Although those Scourge, no, are not going to get the Science Vessel. But no, never mind, there's a bunch more lurkers coming out from the Nidus Canal, so he's going to be just fine. But it is going to be a little bit difficult for him to get the good swarms off. As you can see, Leta's already pushed up the ramp, so he can kind of maneuver around the Dark Swarms. He's actually going to target the Nidus Canal. Very important to not lose that for GG Amo, but the Nidus Canal does go down. A few extra units popping out just in time, though, so I'm pretty sure you'll be able to save this expansion just fine. And probably going to rebuild that Nidus Canal ASAP. Looks like he actually just consumed a drone or two, which is interesting. Ran out of Zerglings to eat. And Leta continuing to try to do damage with this attack. Those lurkers are actually on burrow and go help out here. Those Marines actually back themselves into a corner. It looks like they're just going to run up to the mineral lines here, but the tanks have been left behind. Leta's like trying to figure out a place where there's no Dark Swarms or lurkers that he can run to. Looks like he's just going to decide to run back down towards the ramp. He's not actually going to go back down there, though. He's going to try and hold the position on the top of the ramp, of course. That you know, if he just moved down the ramp and let GG Emo bar a couple of lurkers up there, that would kind of be the end of this attack on the third. But he wants to keep the aggression going. I think that's a good idea. Nidus Canal has been remade, and oh, looks like GG Amo is just going to move in with a bunch of lurkers here. Doesn't even need Dark Swarm, and he's going to finish off that M&M slash tank group. Probably have a couple of Scourge there, kill that vessel as well. It's like a free vessel, but I mean, I don't even know if that's necessarily a victory for GG Amo. It did take him a very long time to kill that M&M group, and I'm sure Leta's remacroed up an army. Looks like, yeah, he's getting his third base up as well. The supply counts, though, are pretty close. 92 supply of Leta against 78, 79 of GG Amo. I mean, the Terran should be a little bit ahead at this point. And it looks like Leta has made the mass factory transition now that his third base is up, lifting off all of his barracks. You can just float those around the map, do a little bit of scouting. You can already see he's starting to lay down some spider mines. And this is going to be quite annoying for GG Amo. I mean, he is, you know, doing the standard Lurker-Link Defiler play, which is very vulnerable to, you know, just minefields, full-place mines. Lurkers, Lings, and Defilers. None of those three is, in fact, very good against spider mines. And, vessel! Oh, he's gonna get one hit by accident. Looks like he's not gonna notice the vessel, in fact. And I feel like Leta's in a good position now. Oh. Unless he suicides some units, but he's got his third base up, and he is kind of denying the fourth base of GG Amo, that natural expansion at the top right. GG Amo would like to take that, but those mines could do a ton of damage. He's got to be so careful when he's moving down here. Of course, the Dark Swarms will let him move down safely against the Marines, but those spider mines are really what he has to worry about. However, he is going for a drop here along the south side. It looks like Leta has seen it, so he's going to send some vultures into support. There are a lot of spider mines there, but those mines can actually kill all of his SCVs if he's not careful. Oh my god! 2 lurkers dying immediately, but taking all the SCVs down with them, that was completely counterproductive. I mean, sure you killed the lurkers, but the whole point was to kill the SCVs. Oh my god, I think I'm pretty sure that was intentional by GG Amo. Obviously the overlords are detectors, so he could see the spider mines. And he was like, oh, well, I guess I'll just kill all your SCVs with your own mines then. Looks like a plague on the supply depots. Gonna help the Lings take those guys down. The Lings don't look like they have adrenal glands, though. They are attacking quite slowly. I'm pretty sure they actually don't, which is not ideal for GG Amo. He should have that by now, considering his, you know, he's got consume and everything. He's had that for a while. I don't really understand why he doesn't have adrenal glands. I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure he doesn't. The armory, though, is possibly going to burn down here. It looks like it will burn down, and that must have been upgrading ground weapons or armor, so losing that is quite crucial. Leta pulling a couple of SCVs at the last second, and whoa! It looks like another drop going down on this third base here. A couple of lurkers dying. I think they got a bunch more SCV kills. I saw some explosions there. And I think that was just the SCV kills there made that worth it. You know, the actual drop in the main didn't do too much damage. He did stop the upgrade, which is quite crucial. But yeah, I think it's mainly the delayed upgrade and all those SCV kills that were the benefit of that drop. Anyway, it looks like he's going in on the north side, or where's he actually going? Is he like trying to swing around the top? I mean, they're heading to the top left, but there's no base there. I don't know. He might like swing around and drop the cliff at the natural. Yeah, it looks like the observer is showing us that that's probably what's going on here. I mean, you can see GG Amo had a Ling at the top left main. He saw that, you know, there was no expansion there, and yeah, the Overlord's gonna go down here, and it looks like he's gonna get a little bit lucky and actually not even get spotted. Although no, never mind. There are a few Marines positioned here at the 9 o'clock. Looks like Leta was actually thinking about taking that expansion next. So just lucking out a little bit. The Vulture's coming in, but they can't go up there. There's 2-3 Lurkers under a swarm. So that's not going to work out too well. But he is sending his main force here. But GGMO can actually just reload into the Overlords and go drop the natural cliff. Although he's probably just going to get all those Lurkers irradiated now. So I guess that won't happen. Although, no, it looks like that guy was not irradiated. Meanwhile, the 4th base of GGMO is up now at the top right naturally. Was able to clear out the few forces that were there. Leta is moving in that direction with a mech army, decently sized. He does have 151 supply, but his army looks a tad small to me. He might just be leaving some extra units at home to defend or something, like against a counterattack. Obviously, the mech army is pretty immobile, so you gotta be careful of that. And yeah, it looks like he has left a decent amount of units at home to defend. Meanwhile, GG Amo trying some very cute drops on top of these units. That's not gonna work. He might have actually been thinking about trying to go into the main base there, but wasn't able to. And here is the big push on the top right. Bases. GG Amo unburrows his Lurkers and moves forward, but they all get taken down before they can burrow. Now, the Vultures, meanwhile, going in and killing all the drones. Note that Lurkers, when they're burrowed under Dark Swarm, even the splash damage of the tanks will not damage them. Lurkers that are burrowed under Dark Swarm are literally invincible to all but melee units, slash Firebats, which are technically not melee units, by the way. Firebats have a range of 2. But anyway, yeah, the Lurkers, though, while they're unburrowed, they still take the splash damage from the tank, so they actually all got taken down. I think there was a Radiate as well. Anyway, Leta's simultaneously attacking the natural here. It's actually very interesting that he's doing this multi-pronged attack. Generally, when you go for a big mech army like this, you want to keep your forces together. The mech army is much stronger when you have, you know, a decent-sized ball of metal. It's in these smaller engagements that the mech becomes less efficient. And as you can see, GG Amo is going to pick off a couple of tanks here with these Lings under Swarm. But the rest of the army is coming down now. It looks like he's just given up on the top right natural there, and he's going to change targets to the natural instead. But a lot of Dark Swarm going down here. GG Amo just trying to hold on, but you know, he's purely in defense mode right now. He was doing some nice drops and counterattacks just now, but right now he is purely on the defensive, and that's not really how you win games, just by defending. You have to attack sometime. Hopefully he has some devious plans, or at least can do some kind of counter Lurker drops or something while this is going on. I mean, you know, he can hold on all he wants. Eventually, he is going to get worn down by the Terran Death Ball. Looks like he's got a bunch of Ultralisks out. Ultralisks not the best counter to mech. I mean, you know, they're pretty good. I would actually be really excited to see him load up a bunch of Ultraling and drop them on top of the tanks. And yes, it looks like that's actually exactly what he's doing. That will make them a lot more effective, in fact. He's going to run a couple of units underneath. He's bringing the Defiler up where he's going to use Swarm or Plague. Looks like there's going to be a Dark Swarm, and there is the drop on top of the tanks. There's a couple of mines there, in fact. Looks like the mine's not going to go off. No. A couple will hit the Ultras. Of course, mine's extremely good against Ultralisks, doing so much damage. And it looks like GG Amo is he going to be able to do it? He's bringing out a few more Ultralisks here, and I think those Ultralisks are going to clean up the attack. So GG Amo busts out of his natural here. Unfortunately for him, though, his 5th base at the 12:30 has been spotted. A bunch of Ultras going to go in and ravage that. He is counterattacking at the 9 o'clock, but it's not enough. And I think he's going to lose his expansion here. I don't really see any way for him to save it. You know, even though Vultures don't do the most damage to buildings, there are quite a few of them there. And oh no, it looks like his 4th base is also completely undefended. He's going to lose all his drones. He's got a bunch of Scourge. That's not very useful. A few Lings coming in here, but wow. Devastating for GG Amo there. I can't believe he doesn't have like anything there. Not even a single Lurker or even a Sunken Colony. I mean, undefended bases when, you know, Terran Vultures running around the map. That's not a good idea. It looks like a bunch of units pouring out now, but all the drones are already dead. Meanwhile, it looks like some Overlords are being irradiated. Did he... I guess he figured there was units in there like for a drop, so he just forced them to unload. Looks like a Plague goes down, only hits a few vessels. And indeed, that expansion has been killed. So GG Amo back down to his original 4 bases, whereas Leta is also on 4 bases. So that's not a good position for the Zerg when you're on even bases against a Terran. Although, you know, Leta's 630-ish base is kind of a lower valued expansion, but still not the best situation for the Zerg player here. Although he's at least showing us a good game against Leta. I gotta say, Leta now at 2-1. I think the Ultras just now were at 4-1. They might have their next level of upgrade. I'm not really sure. But, ooh, looks like... whoa! Only one vessel dying there. That was a very clutch irradiate from Leta. He irradiated one of the Scourge, and it actually splashed the other Scourge to death. So that wasn't very good. I think GG Amo got a little bit greedy there. He tried to hit the back vessels with those initial Scourge. If he just hit the closest vessel, I think he would have got a second science vessel there, but it's not the biggest deal in the world. It's interesting to note, though, that GG Amo's kind of playing, I would say, actually a slightly dated way of ZVT when the Terran is going for this late game mech. I mean, you know, the the cool thing to do nowadays, the chic strategy is to go for Queens and brooding all the tanks and like mass Hydra. This kind of you know, Lurker Ling Ultra play is a little bit old school. Well, I don't know if it's necessarily old school, but I honestly, I don't think it's quite as efficient as Hydra Queen, although that strategy is pretty tricky to pull off, of course. And, well, the Ultra Ling is going to clean up all these SEVs here at the 9 o'clock. I'm a little bit surprised by that. It looks like a Plague on the mech. Hits a few units there. Of course, Plague extremely good against mech composition, since, you know, there's no medics to heal anything, and it's pretty unusual to pull a bunch of SCVs to repair everything. You basically never see it except for science vessels or maybe battle cruisers if you see those. It's just generally not very efficient to try and repair all your tanks and Goliaths and whatnot. Anyway, another command center being built at 9 o'clock for Leta is going to float that over to the top left, most likely. Meanwhile, GG Amo, I think he is trying to take the 9 o'clock here, but if he keeps leaving all these bases like completely undefended, he's just not going to have any drones anywhere. Looks like just 3 Vultures this time. It's not going to be the biggest deal. He does send a few Lings here and an Ultra to deal with this, so it's actually not going to be that bad. Looks like Leta being fancy, microing that individual Vulture. You'd think at this point in the game he has a little bit more stuff that he can do with that APM, but, you know, it's cute. It's cute. And Leta, of course, is a cutie. Now, the supplies are actually quite close here. 115 for Leta against 110 of GG Amo. Like, Leta, I feel, should be a little bit further ahead in the supply. I mean, this could be partially the result of his somewhat greedy expanding. I mean, he is building a 5th command center now, where the Zerg is still not even got his 5th up. So Leta's like staying on par in expansions with the Zerg, which is definitely good for him economy-wise. I just hope he doesn't overextend himself and fall too far behind in the army and just like get rolled over in a silly fashion. The observer just kind of clicking around, showing us that some of these tanks are in fact plagued. So even though that is a lot of siege tanks, some of them are quite weak. And looks like Leta going in for yet more Vulture harass here, pulling a bit of a fantasy, although not quite as effective as fantasy Vultures perhaps, but still doing a decent job. And, you know, the Vultures, they're very cheap. They're, you know, they build very quickly. Of course, as Noni says, they cost 0 minerals, or wait, they're free and they have a build time of 0. That's it. Yeah, the point is, you know, trading a Vulture for a drone, even though you might think, oh, well, a Vulture is 75 minerals and a drone's 50 minerals, that's good for the Zerg, surely. It's actually not quite that simple. Of course, you have to consider like the larva usage and whatnot, and of course the mining time. Anyway, more Vultures moving into the 3 o'clock, and oh no, there's not even a Nidus Canal here to send in reinforcements. So it looks like the Vultures will get trapped by the Zerg army and get taken down. And there were only a handful of drones there anyway. But I hope GG Amo like at least puts a sunk in here or something. You know, he has a Nidus to the top right, so I can understand if he wants to be a little bit more efficient there, not invest in any static defenses, and just, you know, have good reaction time. But at the 3 o'clock, I feel it'll be a little bit tricky. I mean, the sunken is a pretty good investment. Although, on the other hand, the sunken doesn't actually do that much DPS, so if you send in like 6, 7, or, you know, plus Vultures, you can actually just kill all the drones anyway, even if there's a sunken there. You just target fire the drones. Anyway, Command Center has floated up to the top left natural. GG Amo does see it there. He's going to try and deny it a little bit. But his bases are just getting harassed so hard. Looks like an Ultralisk Bouncer there. Those Vultures getting denied access to the club. Clearly not pretty enough. Too bad that those Ultralisk Bouncers are on the wrong side of the ramp there. Anyway, look at Leta being cute, all cute with these Vultures, like trying to micro down that Ultra. Anyway, oh, it's like scan goes down. It's going to take down one Lurker. And You know, it's really interesting. See, Leta is basically like focusing all his attention on doing all this fancy vulture harass while also like building up his main army. But all the like the Goliaths and the tanks, the core units, I'm pretty sure they're all just like sitting outside his natural. They're just like chilling at the rally point. Yeah, as you can see, he's got so many units just sitting at the natural, just waiting to move out and crush some Zerg face. And it's not a bad style. I mean, you know, use up all your expendable units, do as much damage as you can, and then, you know, once you're once you're bored of that, or you feel you've done enough damage, then you can move out with the real army, as we see here. Leta going out with a pretty nice core of siege tanks. Not that many Goliaths, interestingly, in the composition, but that's fine. He's actually banking a ton of gas here, 1,300 gas. I think that's kind of a testament to how many, you know, how heavy on the vultures he's going. Usually when the turn goes mech, you know, between the tanks and the Goliaths and the occasional vessel, they run out of gas pretty quickly. So for him to be floating that much gas and using all his minerals just shows you how vulture heavy he's going. Anyway, the push is going towards the top right here, and Leta actually manages to set himself up in position before GG Amo even realizes what's going on. I think that's a little bit of a mistake from GG Amo, honestly. I mean, there's like no anti-air anywhere. He could just have overlords all over the place, seeing what's going on. And oh man, Vulture's going to go into here to the 3 o'clock. There are 2 creep colonies. They were not turned into Sunkens in time. So he's going to lose every single drone there. But looks like he's going to do a counterattack here to the top left. The mech army is actually not in position to defend this. Leta just immediately going to lift this command center, but he will lose a number of SCVs here. And whoa! Looks like going to try and skirt some of the vessels. I was mistaken earlier. There are a few Goliaths there for anti-air, but really not that much. And you know, when you're playing against a mech army like this, you know, ideally you do want to catch them unsieged out of position. If you just let them walk to your base and siege up and get all the mines down, it's like so hard to break that kind of position. Looks like GG Amo rather is thinking about doing some kind of flank or something. Looks like he's going to catch a few reinforcements here. Leta actually not paying attention, engaging these Ultras Underdark Swarm. His army is not actually doing any damage right now. And yet GG Amo runs away anyway, for God knows what reason. Okay, it looks like he realizes, hey, I'm actually invincible under this orange cloud thingy. Let me go attack. And then he runs out of it and dies, so that's not ideal. But anyway, this is actually a really good game. But I mean, Leta is just kind of tightening the noose here. The supply count is still pretty tight, but Leta's expansions are getting out of control, and GG Amo losing this expansion here at the top right. He's getting vulture harassed yet again here at this natural. Oh my god, so many undefended drones! Oh man, I mean, you know, I'm a Protoss player. I like DTs. I love killing drones, but still, I just feel bad here. This is some serious drone genocide going on. And you can just see it on GG Amo's face there as well. He's just like, ugh, not again, not again. Vultures, way too imbalanced. And that is a lot of siege tanks, though. There's no support units, so this Ultra Link stream is going to take down that little clump of tanks there. 1 SCV futilely. Futilely? That sounds a bit weird. I think that's a word. Whoa! Hello! GG Amo, did he just kill that command center with Scourge? I think he did. That's interesting. Usually, I think the general wisdom is that that's not really worth it to kill a command center with a bunch of Scourge, because you need a lot of Scourge to kill a command center. But I guess it was already damaged by the Ultra Ling, so he just kind of finished it off. Would have been cooler if he just infested it, but that's quite interesting. So I mean, you know, he did take out that base, but there's actually something at the 530 expansion that it looks like Leta's stuff on the minimap. I'm not sure if that's an expansion or he's just got something like a floating barracks to spot there. Either way, look at that. Leta doesn't even need to siege anymore, just doing the A-move Terran with some good defense matrices. Defense matrices. And GG Amo actually just has no drones. Ladies and gentlemen, Vulture Harass is pretty good against undefended expansions. And whoa, Monster Plague hitting 7 tanks and a couple of science vessels. Excellent plague for GG Amo. Unfortunately, he doesn't have the units to capitalize on it. He could actually even just make like 3 mutas right now and go finish all those off, because only has like 2 Goliaths under there. He's going to take down the vessels at least. But he's losing his 3 o'clock expansion. I mean, that expansion also had the most drones, and oh man. Somebody actually needs to go and get a count of all the drone kills this game. Like, oh, Leta scans, he's like, what? You still don't have a sunken there? I'll help myself to some drones then. Wow, this is really sad. This game was like literally death by vulture. Because GG Amo's main engagements were really not that bad, but GG Amo is not amused by your antics, Leta. So this game is over. GG Amo's down to 26 supply. GG! And Leta takes the first set for CJ. A good start for them. Of course, once again, they are fighting for a playoff position here. It is all down to this match. If they win the match, they get the 4th seed. If they lose it, they will forfeit the seed to Stars. And oh god, fails. Once they're trolling. Oh man, once they're Leta attempting to do the front flip, getting completely trolled. Did he trip himself, or did like he accidentally hit Onester there? I'm not actually 100% sure what just happened. He seems quite angry at Onester, but oh man, that was so good, and like the shoe flying off and everything. I hope he didn't like give himself a concussion or anything. Watch, we're gonna find out that Leta's like incapacitated for the playoffs. That'd be horrible for CJ. Oh man. Leta, what a cutie.
Peggy 8.